Well, one of the things I love about church is that it takes every form and style of worship you could ever imagine for every person's comfort zone in faith, and we need that. And you can also find them in an incredible variety of venues: church buildings, strip malls, schools, movie theaters, even huts in Africa, one of my personal favorite ways to worship. But today I'm pretty sure I'm going to introduce you to a venue you have never heard of. We'll be hearing about the church at the Manor in Guelph, Ontario that meets in a strip club. Sharon Ninaber is one of the founders and its pastors. So I have done stories in the past about churches that buy a strip club that went out of business and redeem the space, and they use it as a church. You meet in a currently functioning strip club.
Yes.
Like literally until 3 or 4 in the morning before you meet on Sunday morning, there was a strip club there.
Yeah. Typically the dancers might be there, or people cleaning up till on a Saturday, or early Sunday morning, 3 or 4 a.m. And then we come about 11 a.m. We always, there's a free lunch that we bring with us. And so we're there by 11 and we're there till about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And then the girls come in to dance a little bit later that day.
Wow. Okay. So how this started, and I love this story because this really isn't your dream. No. This clientele wasn't really your passion. And the story of how this started is so amazing. Just tell me where it started. Where did this seed get planted?
Yeah, it is my dream and passion now.
Yes.
But you're right, it wasn't at all. Where did it start? Very quickly, I've been married to a pastor for 26 years, and I was the pastor's wife, and I was happy in my role. In 2010, I felt a calling into ministry, and that was really strange to me because I thought, he's the pastor, God, not me. But I definitely felt a strong call in my life, which I had to kind of reconcile with.
And then you're thinking, like, am I going to go pastor a different church, or do we pastor the same one?
I even was raised in a very traditional way, so I'm like, I'm a woman, God, are you sure?
Are you sure? God, do you know what you're doing?
I had to actually work through it, and I had to talk through it with my husband, who's very gracious, and he's always seen things in me, and he's like, yeah, like he's always encouraged me in that. So in 2012, I was sitting innocently in a church in Elora visiting, and the pastor, I actually had this feeling that he was going to say something to me. And so I was like trying to avoid eye contact. It wasn't working. And he literally stopped. He had been ministering and he stopped and he pointed me out and he spoke to me. And he started telling me things that I thought, wow, only God could have shared, told him that. And then he said to me, something I'll never forget. He said, God is preparing to send you to a really dark place where the enemy wants to rule and reign, but he's going to give you all the, he started listing different things, the authority, this and that you're going to need in that place. And I'm sitting there going, Africa? Like, literally, that's my first thought, because I have been to Africa. There's, and I was stunned. I thought, where is this place, God? I had never heard about the Manor, didn't know about the Manor, but I love how God prepares you in advance for things he's going to have you do.
Sometimes when God speaks, we think we know what it means, and then later we realize we really had our own interpretation of even what we thought God was saying.
Totally. Yeah. Like hindsight really is 20/20 in a spiritual way too.
And so the next thing, a friend of yours had a picture as she was praying for you.
That's right.
What was that?
So we had a gathering start up. My husband was pastoring a traditional church, but we just felt there was, in our own lives, I needed more time in worship and just in prayer beyond what we were doing at church. So we had a growing group of people meeting in our home. And one night, as we were praying, she said, it's funny, I got this picture as we were praying. And she said, we were dressed as pioneers and we were getting into a wagon and we were going into this new territory. It's been prepared for us. And she said, the forest we're going into is really, there's tall, healthy trees. I know it's good, but we don't know what's happening until we turn each corner. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow. And she actually had said, the leadership, the pastors at the church we were currently at, they were waving goodbye to our wagon. And that did happen a month later.
Wow. So it's comforting in a way.
It is. And actually when that process, it wasn't a good fit on both sides. And there's God didn't waste that time. I mean, I had to do a lot of growing and a lot of learning for myself. God took us, when he takes you through hard things, there's always a purpose in it for sure. So,
So you guys don't know where you're going next. You're
don't know where we're going.
And somebody gives you grocery gift cards.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. No, but I do have to mention that during that time when Jack was leaving the church, the man who was speaking to him about it, he said, we see you more as a pioneer. And for me, that was just like, oh, pioneer, pioneer. God's like, I don't know if I'm just the child that God has to repeat things several times over to, but for me, it was like such a confirmation. We're going to be okay. He has the plan for us. We're going to be doing something totally new and in territory. So yeah, leading up to those gift cards then, we were without a job and income, and I had to get a new phone, and it came with grocery gift cards. So I remember saying, God, thank you so much for these. We've got 4 kids, we've got to feed them, and this is awesome. And I honestly, in that moment, God said to me, I want to use those. And I was kind of annoyed. I was like, I need these. What do you want to use these for? I couldn't imagine. And yet again, it's like, I just want to be in that place where I listen and I follow through. Sometimes you think you hear something from God but you're like, well, maybe that wasn't God. And that's kind of the easier thing to do, right?
Totally.
So I thought, okay. So my husband and I, we prayed about it, and we had heard about Susan, which is actually was a motel connected to the Manor. And the Manor is a mansion built by John Sleeman, the brewery guy, and
which is a strip club in Southern Ontario.
So it's a mansion actually with a strip club on one side and a motel on the other. So Roger Cohen, who's the owner, he turned the motel into more of a halfway house. So people that are just struggling, maybe they're fighting addictions, they've just got out of prison, he'll actually take them in and give them a roof over their heads. And we had seen a documentary or something. We had passed by it on the highway, and we felt like God was leading us there with the gift cards.
Yeah, so you went in there with the gift cards. We're just running out of time, so I want to make sure we get to this
Yes.
part. You went in there and you asked to give them out.
Yes, we did. We talked to the manager at the bar because, again, we felt the Lord lead us there. And we talked about the gift cards. It didn't really work out, and I thought it was the key in there to a conversation with someone I would have never met. And we started talking about, I said, do you rent this place out? He said, for what? I said, for a church. He said, what kind of a church? And I just said, a real radical one. And he said, with snakes? No, not with snakes. I mean, he had no context. He had no context of, what we wanted to do. And I said, I know people that have been set, like God has the power to set people free from addiction, from whatever they're hurting from, and to bring freedom. And we would love to see that. And he said, I think I can make it happen. And I was shocked and terrified all at the same time.
And were you sitting there kind of going, oh, I just asked to start a church and a strip club. And I know, you come from a very conservative background.
I know.
You have no grid for people that are struggling with any of these issues.
Zero.
But
No.
you knew that God was calling you. And what was that first Sunday like?
The first Sunday was amazing. I was nervous. I had gone to God and I said, help. He just said yes. We got it cleared through the owner. And I said, God, what do we do? And I felt like the Lord said, do testimonies, because it builds the faith. It's someone's story you can't take away from, right? You can't negotiate. You can't be skeptical. It's their story. And so it builds faith of non-believers and believers. And so we started having people just share what God, called it before and after God stories. And they would just share, I was in jail, I was addicted, and God is the answer. He sets people free. Jesus is the answer.
I have a number of friends of mine who've gone there and shared their story. Quickly, in the last 30 seconds here, what results have you been seeing?
We've baptized 12 people, and we've led people to the Lord and people back to the Lord that they had such a difficult life and been through so much that they thought there's no way I can go back to God now. Mm-hmm. And we said, it's like, we tell the story of the prodigal son and say, that's a picture of God the Father waiting for you. Yeah. And they just came back. And it's been amazing.
One of the things I love about your story is not just following God into unusual places, but it's the idea that so many people who would never go into a church can come and meet God there and feel comfortable there. Yeah. I would so want to talk to you more, but thank you so much for all you're doing. We're cheering for you, and we want to bring you back and hear more stories of what God's doing
at the
church, the Manor.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And if you're watching this story and God's challenging you to do something that is out of the ordinary, that is crazy, I think Sharon would tell you, go for it. God will show you how to do it, and you will figure it out as you do, and many people's lives will be changed. It's amazing what God is waiting to do through you. You just wait and see.